come here to learn not just business specific subjects. Come here to learn more about yourself, business, what you want to do, and building a career. Post Vedica, the change that I've seen in myself, I realized, okay, if you get quality education and access to like quality education, that really helps you become a better version of yourself. So
Alright, so we are sitting right now at Vedica. It's a fascinating institute in its own merit because, it provides you a different aspect, it provides you a different look at management education. And we are sitting with an alumni who was the member of the founding batch of this particular institute, right? We are talking to Deepika today. Deepika, tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, and why are we having this conversation with you?
well, thank you for first inviting me. My name is Deepika Sodhi. I'm working with Coursera right now as a program implementation manager.
Yeah.
I was part of Vedica as the founding batch, so I graduated, I think 7 years ago now. 2016 is when I graduated.
When did you realize the power of education in your life? When did you think that this is something that can transform lives and people's career in general?
I think the first time I went to a classroom with Teach for India, one of my relatives was a fellow there, and she invited me to like visit her classroom one fine day. I just saw like a bunch of girls just running towards her, really excited to learn on that particular day. And these were, I think, 8th graders, so
Right.
pretty young. They turned around and asked me, who are you and what do you want to become? What's your ambition? And that point of time, I realized how ambition plays such a big part for like these young minds and how eager they are to learn. So that was really like the first point for me, that education really can transform lives, and people look up to like individuals like us who probably come from like privileged backgrounds and are doing something with their lives or could do something with their lives. That was one. The second was when I joined Vedica, for me it was a life-changing experience. Growing up, I wasn't really clear what I wanted to do, so Vedica really sort of gave me that ammo to understand more about not just management but also liberal arts, communication. Post Vedica, the change that I've seen in myself, I realized, okay, if you get quality education and access to like quality education, that really helps you become a better version of yourself. So those two instances sort of really helped me understand education is something that I probably want to stay in.
So a lot of people that I speak to, Deepika, they're either MBA grads or somebody who is actually doing the program from some institute or the other. And most of the times that I hear is because they didn't know what to do, that's why they signed up for MBA, right? Yeah. Was it the case for you as well when you first did your MBA from an institute? Although it was distance, what exactly was in your mind that you wanted to cover through this particular program, and how did you think that that's going to help me in the long run?
So for me, the decision to go to an MBA really was around because I had studied commerce and then done BCom. MBA is the most obvious path for me because professionally I was still contemplating what is it that I have to do. I had some experience with Teach for India, but not enough to like make a concrete decision. For me, it was personally a choice to just continue the learning journey and not take a gap because I didn't know what to do with the gap year anyway.
So Deepika, what usually happens is, once you start something, then you figure out certain things about that particular program, and then you invest some time, and then if you really like it, then you go about finding more and digging deeper about it. So was that the seed in your mind that actually told you that, management education is something that you probably would be interested in?
I would agree. Like I said, because I studied commerce, both like for my school and bachelor's. So even though it seemed like the obvious choice, it also seemed like something that I was interested in. So continuing that journey seemed more useful for me. I have attempted like most of the entrance exams. So like I said, I was mostly confused about what is it that I want to do. And when I was like doing my BCom, I was looking at NIFT. So I did a lot of fashion merchandising entrance exams. my grandfather wanted me to become an IS officer, so I did a lot of like civil services prep. My Masi wanted me to join a bank just like her, so I started preparing for that. So after a point, I realized that I'm just not meant for these rigorous assessments, because that's sort of like boxing me in, and I can't cramp and I can't learn that way, and I can't just like present an information to for that specific question paper. So I did a lot. I did get selected like for NIFT at least, but I didn't get Delhi center. So I was at that point of time being like, मुझे Delhi नहीं छोड़ना, I want to live here. So that was the journey. So I did like attempt various things, after which I decided, okay, maybe management is the right path, because I've tried different places, I've tried different things. Nothing interests me as much as learning about business does. So continue on that journey.
Let's talk about Vedica, because when it's a very new kind of an institute, you kind of have these apprehensions and feelings that, oh, I'm just done with an MBA, I have a good job. Do I need to be part of this program? Because I haven't heard about this program. I don't know any alumni. This is the first time I'll be stepping in. I don't know whether they are credible enough or not. So were there these questions in your mind at that time when you heard about this program?
Couple of things. When I got to know from someone that I trust, same mentor. So there was a lot of like trust and credibility associated with it. Second was, I think my appetite for risk was very high back then, because I had really nothing to lose. I had zero responsibilities. Like I said, I was open to learning and exploring different things. So I wanted to explore a little bit more. Of course, there was that fear of, do I really want to study more because I have a job? I like what I do. It's in the sector that seems interesting. So is it really worth it? But because the appetite for risk was enough, and I had right guidance around me as well, that what's there to lose? If you don't like this program, you could always go back to what you were doing. So that was like one strong reason logically. Second, I think when I read about the program, two things that stood out for me. One was the Shadow Woman CEO program. So I thought कि अच्छा होगा, interesting लगेगा, you get to work with someone. Second was the governing council was brilliant. A lot of names that I had only seen in newspapers and business magazines, and I was like, will I actually get a chance to like interact with them and learn from them? So that was very fascinating. And third thing, I said 2 points, but really 3 things. Third thing for me was they said that you will get a job, 100% like placement guaranteed. So for me, I was like, they'll get me a job. I'm learning. There's really nothing to lose as such. So that's how Vedica happened for me.
Tell me what exactly happens if it's an all women's batch and the people that you are surrounded with, all of them probably have different stories, but they're all from the same gender. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I think great thing. Great thing. You will learn so much about solidarity and being empathetic and being great listeners. So for me, it was amazing experience. I didn't personally have apprehensions about joining an all girls program, but there were questions around like, are you sure? Because diversity is so important when you're going to a school specifically related to like business domain, right? I wasn't really concerned, but in hindsight, now that I think, I wouldn't have added any other way, because the kind of conversations that we could have in a classroom, in our hostels, was very different, dramatically different what I have seen like earlier.
Let's talk about, Deepika, that job that you were promised at the beginning of the course. Did that happen for you? And which were the companies that were actually coming? Did you get the job? Were you happy with the job?
Yes, I did get the job. Interestingly, I didn't sit for the pre-placement discussion.
Okay.
I started working with a career counseling firm called One Step Up immediately after graduating. So I graduated in December. I joined them in Jan. It wasn't something that I was looking for back then, but I was also pretty clear that I want to go out of campus with a job in hand. Bunch of my friends had come back after the pre-placement workshop and said, you have to apply here. I was like, I'm not interested in education. I want to do something else. She's like, you have to apply here. The role is meant for you. So again, like sometimes it's helpful when your friends and your people around you know you really well, that they can sort of pinpoint what's really important for you. And maybe like this is a good example for mentorship as well. But yes, the job happened. I was very happy with where I was. 3 beautiful years with them, learned the most amount of public speaking I could ever in any form of setup.
You were teaching here, if I'm not wrong. When you came back here as a teacher, what was the difference that you saw in this particular institute after so many years of you graduating? Did you find any difference in terms of the learning pedagogy that was present at that time when you were teaching here? And did you bring in certain things that you always wanted probably as a student?
Changes, yes. We were 35, so there was a handful. When I came back, there were at least 100. So suddenly there were too many women in front of me, and remembering names became like a task. I think from a learning pedagogy point of view, they did have a couple of new sessions and different modules incorporated, but the foundation remained the same. The 4 tracks remained the same. It was more around what we can add, so like salt and pepper, the same tracks altogether. For me, when I came back, I think just 2 things were really important for me. A, to now show them how project manager really works like, because that's the course that I take here. And the second was also because I had been in their position where I was also feeling really lost and confused with the way the course is being taught. That's done on purpose, that's the way it's designed. But how do you, why is it important in the real life as well? Because 7 years back, I was still wondering, why am I doing this and what's the point of this case study? But 7 years later, every time I'm doing reflection exercises with them, there have been like aha moments for me as well, like being a faculty in class. Those are the 2 real elements for me to come back and tell them, you're not alone. I've been there, but it's helpful.
Last piece of advice for women right now at different stages of their life, probably working at some place, trying to figure out what they don't want to do and want to do in life, or people like you who don't have the clarity right now as to what will happen if they enroll themselves in this program, but something for sure will turn up. What would be your advice?
I would say you would definitely learn a lot about yourself. Even if you don't want to, the program will make sure that you learn enough about yourself. So come here to learn not just business specific subjects. Come here to learn more about yourself, business, what you want to do, and building a career. I have seen my batch from the last 7 years grow. So I know that we are sort of the stepping stone to build that form of like women leadership and solidarity. So hopefully 20 years down the line, we can come back as, those women CEO leaders. So come here for that. Come here to learn more about yourself and learn liberal arts, management, all that.
All the best to become the women CEO or the leader or the manager, or in general an inspiration that you want to be probably in life, in any of the sectors that you want to. Thank you very much for giving us time today, and I hope that you achieve the kind of goals that you set for yourself from here on. If you want to know more about this particular institute, there is a link in the description. Do check that out. Do tell us in the comments below how you liked Deepika's journey in this particular video, and share it with friends who probably are looking for a place, a safe space for them to learn. Thank you very much, Deepika, and have a great day.